Busy? Busy robbing a bank? Se-han tells Mina. Jisoo says that was some kind of transforming ability, and he says that's correct. Mina's ability is that she can transform into another person or any kind of object. With that, Se-han hoped that would satisfy Jisoo's curiosity, because he couldn't tell that he knew that because of his first playthrough. Jisoo asks Se-han why he assumed that Mina was robbing the bank when in fact, it looked like she was helping someone else earlier. He tells her that she was the one who brought the robbers to the bank. Since everyone evacuated to the bank, Mina couldn't just rob it. That's why she manipulated the robbers into coming there. If the robbers kept on raiding the bank, other survivors wouldn't go there anymore, then Mina could just rob it for herself. Mina Lee and Park Dongwon are the best master manipulators in Se-han's first playthrough. Since Se-han knows Mina's plan, she asks him what he wants to do. Se-han wants Mina to join their party. Mina asks Se-han for how long she would be part of the group, and he answers her until they finish their second main quest. She started to brag that they were still on the second quest while she was already on the third main quest. Mina then asked, why would she join his party? He answers that he'll give her points when she joins them, and Mina tells them in a condescending way that they haven't finished their second main quest, so how could they possibly give her points? Se-han was a little irritated by her comment and wanted to show some of his strength, so he moved closer to Mina and flicked his finger on her forehead, making her unbalanced. She was a little bit confused and thought that Se-han used something to knock her back. But of course, he didn't use anything. His stats are above rank F, that's why he's strong. Then Mina tries to punch Se-han, but Jisoo grabs her wrist. Mina was surprised by Jisoo's strength. Mina tries to cast a spell, but Jisoo grips her wrist harder, stopping her from using her skill. It looks like Mina can't use her transformation if she loses her concentration. Jisoo tells her that she should mind her manners since they are still civilized people, and Se-han then asked her again if she will join his party. Moments later, when the three of them were walking on the street, Mina asked them if they were avatars as well. She was surprised because even though they aren't avatars yet, they are already that strong. Se-han tells her that it is easier to get stronger by becoming an avatar. But that isn't always the case, more important is your equipment. While they are walking on the street, Jisoo saw the stores, but they looked already looted, and he asks him if there's a proper store around. Near them, there is a safe zone, while inside it looks like the place is also looted. Se-han asks where they can get equipment, and then he says Open Point's shop. Suddenly, a big vending machine popped out. Mina was surprised, even though she was already an avatar. It seems like her god, the young jester, didn't tell her that because she wouldn't want her avatar to get an easy path. Jisoo tells them that this is their last chance to buy equipment before they tackle the main second quest. Se-han gets excited because now he can buy proper equipment. Se-han opens the shop, but most of them are just common weapons, they don't sell potions. The gods didn't include potions because they knew that could help a lot of players survive the early missions. Se-han bought armor that could protect the chest and heart area and gave it to her. She was really happy hearing that and thanked him and promised to pay him back later. Then he asked her what kind of weapon she wanted. There are 4 types of weapons: swords, spears, bows, and blunt weapons. Jisoo chose a mace since the Crimson Azura skill is good with any weapon and should be just fine. Near him, Mina was also looking at the shop and hoping that Se-han would also buy equipment for her, and then Se-han teases her a little that she was the one that declined his offer when he wants to give her some points. Se-han then tells her that you need at least 200 points to buy equipment. She was kind of surprised by how many points Se-han had. After buying some equipment, they head out to the city to try their new equipment. Se-han bought a sword and wants to use the platinum reward he got from the adaptive orichalcum. Adaptive orichalcum is a versatile item that can be used in solid or liquid form. It can be applied to equipment, and when removed, it will return to its original form. Se-han used it to the short sword. Moments later, they arrived at the Lome Tower. Mina asked them about the second quest, and Sehan told her that they needed to defeat the boss. He asked her too about the kind of quest she had before, and she told him that it was a battle royal. Battle royal is a quest that needs to kill each other to reach a lower number of participants to a certain number to finish it. Near the tower entrance, Sehan saw two people, and it looked like they were patrolling around the entrance. It looks like those guards are on the lookout for other players, naming Jisoo and Sehan. Sehan thinks that if those guards have a competitive quest that requires them to defeat outsiders like them, it might be risky, so he asks Mina to gather information using her transformation skills. Mina moved cover to cover and got close to one of the guards patrolling, and when one of them came close enough to her, she knocked him down and then dragged him behind one of the rubbles. After that, she used her transformation skill to copy that guy's appearance. The other guard shouts and asks where he is, then Mina, disguised as the guard, appears, explaining that since their shift is about to change, they need to go back inside. Other players went inside, and when they reached the floor where the boss resided, it was a basilisk. But suddenly the basilisk woke up, and one of the players shouted that they couldn't beat that and told everyone to retreat. The basilisk started attacking the players, and all of them could do nothing but run as the basilisk kept attacking them one by one. It seems like when they reach that door the basilisk can't chase them outside, but the basilisk blocked the door, and everyone who's trapped inside is about to meet their doom. This quest requirement states that only players who started from the same location can enter the boss room together. There are two teams that are trying to kill the boss, and only one team can complete the quest. There's a penalty for failing the quest, and the last team to start the quest started to occupy the subway. That was the information Mina gathered, and then the three of them walked to the entrance. Sehan saw a familiar face, and it was Jonghyun. Jonghyun seems more humble to Sehan, and Jisoo knows why because they know Sehan defeated the Minotaur alone. Then Sehan asks him if he can talk to Student Council President Yoon. Jonghyun tells them that place became their new base. Sehan noticed that there are a lot of observers in that place. Mina asks them why the people are staring at them, then Sehan answers her that he helped everyone to escape by killing a Minotaur. Mina was surprised by it, but suddenly Yoon appeared and was overjoyed that they were alive. Yoon then explains the situation to them, the same one Mina told them earlier. Yoon tells Sehan that if the players who got there first can't defeat the boss, how could they? But Sehan had a plan. Two teams are aiming to kill the boss for their quest, and the failure of this is death. Sehan plans to let the other team defeat the basilisk, but Yoon tells him that if they defeat the basilisk, it will be the end of them. Then Sehan tells him that if that basilisk is actually the boss that they need to kill, apparently when their group arrived at the tower, the first group showed them a video of a basilisk killing some of the first team members, and Yoon believed that it was the boss. When they entered the tower, they got the notification that they had entered the boss stage. They also looked through every floor and didn't find any other monsters besides the basilisk. But Sehan asks them if they visit the underground of the Lome Tower and explains further the difference between a boss and a regular monster. A boss monster surrounds itself with its minions. Dongwon is still with the group and wants to follow Sehan's plan. Yoon tells them that the other group was created by criminals. Sehan remembers in his first playthrough that there is a guild created by a group of criminals who killed a lot of people like they were insects. That guild is called the Sins, and the man who created it was a man named Ju-won Kim. Meanwhile, at a different location, a person appears, and they call this person Chief. Sehan and the others arrive at their location and want to talk to Ju-won. Yoon tells him that they agreed to let them kill the basilisk in the tower, but Ju-won asks them that if they let them kill the basilisk, they will die. Yoon explains that they are no match for them, so if they defeat the basilisk and it respawns another one, that's their chance. Ju-won jumps in front of them and stares intimidatingly at them. Sehan knows this unpleasant aura because it's one of the highest gods. Ju-won Kim was the avatar of Hades. Ju-won accepts their proposal that they will kill the basilisk, but Dongwon volunteers to stay in the Sin's base, but Ju-won has other plans. He wants all of them to stay there, and he specifically points at Jisoo. Ju-won throws his sickle at Jisoo, but Se-han deflects it. Se-han has a hunch that Ju-won feels something about Jisoo, then Ju-won dashes towards Se-han, stares at him, sizes him up, and knows that Se-han isn't just some ordinary guy. While Ju-won is looking at Se-han, Jisoo is right beside him, and her Celestial Slayer aura appears and frightens Ju-won. Se-han then tells Jisoo to calm down because she got angry at Ju-won's actions. Ju-won is sweating profusely because of Jisoo and her menacing aura, and she accepts Yeon's proposition that Dongwon is the only one who stays. Ju-won was so mad at them because he felt humiliated in front of his subordinates. Moments later, they entered a safe zone, and Se-han tells Yeon that's the place to buy items and gear that could help them survive. Jisoo sneaks behind Se-han and asks what he's doing, then he informs her that these are the items that they're going to use in this quest. Se-han explains the use of these items. The training bracelet, whose weight you can control depending on the color of the jewel. Jisoo asks if he's the one who's going to use it, but his plan is to give it to someone else. Jisoo kept on asking Se-han about many things, including what kind of weapon he was best at. In his first playthrough, he was just mediocre, but when it comes to winning and surviving, he's the one at the top. He's the one who outlived the best of the best and became the only survivor. But this time he wants to become the strongest person in the world. Yoon enters the scene and buys himself some gear, and a green observer is following him. It seems like he became an avatar. Se-han and Jisoo will be separated in this quest, and Se-han gave Yoon the spear and told him that he needed to stick the spear on the ground when he found the boss, and it must point the tip upwards. If you can't beat the boss, Se-han will give him a signal to lure the boss toward the spear. On Dongwon's side, he finally made a move and tried to talk to Ju-won and plans to switch sides because he thinks that Ju-won is much stronger than Se-han. The underground is so dark, but they brought flashlights, and in these dark places, light can be a weakness. That's what Se-han thought. Some rats attacked them, but Se-han killed all of them swiftly. In the underground, there are 6 basement floors, and currently, we are on the 3rd floor. Meanwhile, on the tower, Ju-won's group is fighting the basilisk, and they are having a bad time. A lot of them were turned to stone by the basilisk. Then suddenly, Dongwon arrives at the place where Ju-won is and tells him that basilisk is the strongest, but the real boss is in the underground. One of the men thanked Dongwon for telling them the information, and Dongwon looked at him weirdly. Dongwon guided them to the location where the underground, but it seems the place is abandoned. Ju-won then ordered his men to look for them. One of his men told him that they probably escaped through the underground, and Ju-won made his decision that they would enter the underground now. They saw 2 shadow figures standing at the entrance. It was Se-han and Jisoo. Se-han warned them that they needed to turn back and told Dongwon that he already predicted that he would betray them. Dongwon smiles smugly and tells Se-han to stop acting tough because he will be killed by Ju-won. The guy who thanked Dongwon earlier was Mina disguised as one of them, and this was their plan all along. His plan is to lure them into the underground and wipe them out, and the basilisk will be at the top. Jisoo told Se-han to go to the top of the tower, where the basilisk is, and told him that she only needed to stop Ju-won and his men from reaching the others. Then Se-han picked Mina up and told Jisoo to keep Dongwon the rat alive. Suddenly, Ju-won threw his sickle towards Se-han, but Se-han dodged it while dashing towards him and punched and cracked a bone in his arm before sending him towards his men. Jisoo then stands in front of them and looks at them menacingly. If you enjoy this, please consider subscribing and liking the video. Thanks!